Okay, here we go. Okay, let's go. Will I play the whole song? Might as well play the whole song. We're nearly there. There we go. Ian Morris, my friends. Give it up. Okay, we did it. We're doing it. It's happening. Adrienne is here. John is here. Rebecca, Cara, great to have you. So this is a new way to do it. You're very welcome. This is my spirit talk for Wednesday, the 10th of October, 10/10/2018 is 11/11 numerologically. Powerful day, rockin' day. So I hope you've experienced that. I certainly had. Um, yeah, I had a brilliant day. Yeah, a wonderful day, and just did a session with a beautiful, beautiful lady over here who needed some encouragement, and glad to be able to provide it. So, as you all know, I do right. I do one-to-one sessions, and I do my morning prayers Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. In Ireland, 9 to 9:30. and I'm a channel, and I've been channeling for 20 something years, and I've been on this little path here for 32 years, and it just gets better and better, my friends. The better it gets, the better it gets. So the key is getting out of the way, you know, focusing on what you want, giving thanks, and trusting the inspirations. Yeah. So the idea is, it's great. You can all make comments here. Wonderful. I'd love to chat with you, and do an open Q&A about anything that's on your mind, and then at some point we'll shift gears, and I'll do a closing channeling tonight. There's Bettina. Hi, my friends. Great to have you. Um, I'll just get things started in a general sense of things. Um, was talking about what's happening politically in the states, and this has been such a big story for the last few weeks, between women and men, women speaking out about being abused, sexually assaulted, and then not believed, and not feeling safe enough to ask for help, and when they do ask for help, as I said, not being believed. So it's it's pretty ugly, but this is what's been beneath the surface of our culture and our world for a long, long time. And thank God that there are strong women, and hopefully supportive men who are willing to hear this and face this, and process what this means for humanity going forward. Um, and of course, we have people that are, twisting the truth, as people will do, for their own purposes. So um, I try not to pick sides as often as possible, but uh, for everyone that I've worked with here, and a lot of you are here, you've heard me talk many times about how men are allowed to be angry but can't be sad, and women are allowed to be sad but can't be angry. So what I've experienced over and over again is that um, when women feel supported to express their anger, then they are empowered to be able to release the hurt, that is the grief and sorrow that is beneath the anger. That anger at its core is a feeling of uh, that we get angry because our emotional needs are not met, our needs of safety, love, and support. And when we feel that the rug gets pulled out from under us, or someone assaults us, or attacks us, or disrespects us, then the natural human response is to be angry. And yet, of course, women have been shamed, is really the only word, not to be allowed to express their anger. And it's created a tremendous sense of unworthiness, that women's feelings don't matter, and women's voices don't matter, and men are interrupting women and talking over them, and as a matter of course, and it's a big struggle in the world. So this is setting the stage for what my teachers have called the return of the divine feminine. And the paradox is that there is a Father, Mother, God. There is what my teacher Lazarus calls God, Goddess, all that is, and each of us is their son and daughter. And we have created, as my guides say, a dream that's so real that we've forgotten that we've created it, and we've forgotten that it's a dream. So, how we wake up from this holographic projection of the mind is we go within and we work with our heart. So, the mind is masculine, the heart is feminine. The mind is focused on the externals, the heart is focused on the internals. The mind is more logical in general, the heart is more creative, yeah, and intuitive. And then you get to the gut, which is where the deepest feelings come into the body, the deep emotional inner child, core beliefs, core feelings, etc., etc. So we all need to do a lot of work right now to keep clearing the energies that are coming up to the surface, and keep holding a space for grace, a space for healing, and a space for um, both facing pain and fear, and finding and searching for justice as we can, but also forgiving ourselves and forgiving each other. And they need to kind of come in that order, according to my teachers, because again, here for the women that I've worked with, women have been more programmed into ignoring the pain and fear because the world doesn't want to hear about it, and moving straight into a heroic attempt to forgive others, and their own self worth gets lost in all of this. And so, what we need to also do is to forgive ourselves when we are bullied, when we lie to ourselves, when we give our power away, when we are abandoned and betrayed, and we think that we must have done something to deserve that. So this is all the wounded inner child that we all get to dance with every day. Um, but of course, the vibrations are going up and up, as I say every time I do one of these, and they are helping us to create a space for healing, and create a space for facing the darkness and shining our light and sharing our love. So for people who have dealt with a lot of trauma or abuse or neglect, it is extremely challenging. But sometimes the all that darkness forces us to shine our light and share our love, to find out who we really are, and to look beyond the mind, the world, the appearances of things, and to begin to look into spirit. So I've said this a few times, but when I was in my own crisis at the age of 30, um, and really feeling quite lost and desperate, um, I was reading about people's near death experiences, and realizing that the whole world has similar experiences in death and dying and coming back to life, and that this could not possibly be a coincidence. And so when you look into the material, Life After Death, Raymond Moody, um, yeah, Daniel Brinkley, Saved by the Light, um, Brian Weiss. I'm reading Michael Newton, Destiny of Souls, some of these authors, Anita Moorjani. They're all basically saying, of course, the same thing, you know, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the moment we begin to return to spirit, we remember that immediately, because that's who we really are. So, why we come into the physical form is so we can have the illusion of separation. We can be in male bodies and female bodies, and be men and women, and with men and women's needs and wants and desires, and learn about our spiritual nature, uh, at first through denying it, and then beginning to discover it and reclaim it, and ultimately understanding it and living from it. So, what Lazarus taught us is that time and space are illusions, and that our higher self, which is our closest connection to God, our higher self creates all our physical lifetimes at the same time. And our higher self knows that one of these physical lifetimes is going to be a life where we remember our spiritual nature and who we truly are. So, if you would like this to be that lifetime, join the club. Me too. And the way we get to do that is by um, opening our hearts. So, when when women are sharing their stories of being abused or assaulted or attacked or raped, all these very awful, difficult things. But they're bringing this to the light of day, and they're sharing it with each other and sharing it with everyone who will give them an ear. It's really a bit of an earthquake. Yeah, the Me Too movement. Yeah, it's really a bit of an earthquake, and that's what's been happening in America because of Donald Trump and Brett Kavanaugh and a few other good old boys. Yeah, so the women are absolutely polarized to be heard and to take their power back, and I'm for it. I'm all for it. So we'll see how that plays out. But it is a stampede. It is. I can hear the sound of thundering horse hoofbeats. Yeah, people are on the march, and rightly so. So it's not to yeah, attack men. Oh, the poor men. Nobody understands the men. Jonathan Gravenor wrote a beautiful piece in response to this today. I posted it on my page where he said, you know, look, the statistics are that 99% of women who claim to be assaulted actually were assaulted, and 100% of men who deny that they had anything to do with it, or some high figure like that, were lying. So, you know, and this is, I've had this conversation with many different women around the world now in the last few weeks that I have the pleasure of working with, and you know who you are. And this topic is a raging inferno because there are still there is still violence being um, enacted against women, and the authorities and the men in their lives don't protect them. So this is not okay, my friends. We really need to look at this and change our minds. So it's kind of amazing, of course, that this all this energy about truth and honesty and integrity and responsibility is coming to the surface. It's wonderful in the face of denial and power for its own sake and people lying. And you know, I mean, I've been sober for 30 years. Brett Kavanaugh is obviously an alcoholic. You know, I mean, it's not rocket science. You know, anyone that would lie about his drinking or would attack someone for asking him if he ever blacked out politely, as he did, has a big problem. And he's there's no doubt in my mind he's done all these things, yeah, that he's been accused of, and I believe there was something like 40 people wanting to testify that they believed, that Brett had exhibited this kind of behavior. So it's not to sit in judgment of each other, but it's certainly not to live in a lie. It's certainly not to look the other way when people are have been truly been victimized and are truly asking for help. Um, we're better than that, and that's what's on the horizon. Is knowing that and bringing that out into the world. So that's my 2 cents about all of that. That is coming. I actually saw a quote from the late great Leonard Cohen that was on Pinterest. I like to cruise through Pinterest from time to time and just see what I can find, see what's out there, posters and quotes and pictures and paintings and whatnot. And there was a Leonard Cohen quote. He says, I wish the women would take over already and have done with it. And this looked like it was written in the 60s. So, okay, Leonard, it's coming. Yeah, here come the ladies. Here come the women. Here comes the sisterhood. The other thing I want to say is that I was listening to Rebecca Trasler, who is evidently a very popular author. I'd never heard of her before. I happened to see her on a talk show, and she's written a book called "Good and Mad," which is exactly what I've been talking about and working with, teaching people and learning myself is what the voice of women's anger is really about. And yeah, I say again that I've seen over and over again when women feel safe, loved, and supported in themselves and from others, men and women, to express their anger, not to be angry at people necessarily, but just to release the anger that you've been swallowing and stuffing your whole life. Then what's below the surface of that is old feelings of hurt. And then what gets transformed in that releasing of that rage is your self worth. And I've been listening to Abraham about this again today as well in preparation for tonight. And of course, they say if you're in despair, anger is a step above despair. And you might have to go through anger to get to hope, to get to joy, etc., etc. So I hear you, Kara. It's not about staying mad, you see. It's about if this is a natural human response to what's happening to me, then let me feel it, maybe not with the person that's causing it, but let me feel safe enough in myself to feel my feelings, grief, anger, sadness. That's, the mind is on the surface, the heart is at the core, grief, anger, sadness is stuck in the middle. And you see, when people one of the things of being a spiritual counselor and working with people one to one is people have a very hard time trusting themselves. And why that is because of all this denied, repressed, suppressed emotion. Yeah, I'm not allowed to grieve. I'm not allowed to be angry. I'm not allowed to speak the truth. I'm not allowed to forgive myself. I'm not allowed this, not allowed that. So this is why everyone is in their head so much. Yeah, and I've been there as much as anyone on the planet. But the good news is there's hope for us all. We can feel our feelings and move through them and let them go. And it does take work and it does take courage. I've said many times recently, the hardest part of any one-to-one session is making the decision to get one, because normal life does not invite a lot of introspection and a lot of self-honesty and a lot of vulnerability. Most people are very afraid of being humiliated and or being judged, as not being good enough or strong enough, or we've done some terrible thing, or we didn't do some good thing and now we're terrible. And really, it's that is why the mind, the ego, is so dominant in the world, and this is why the heart, the spirit, the feminine is so deeply and truly needed in our lives and in our relationships. Right, release our resistance. Right, resistance, suffering. It's a great point, Marcella. Suffering is judgment of our feelings. I'm in pain, and that's bad. I'm angry, and that's bad. I'm weak, and that's bad. I'm um, dishonest, and that's bad. That's what suffering is, right? It's not the feeling itself. It's the judgment that we put on ourselves that keeps that stuck in place. Yeah. Um, Guilt, shame, and blame. The guilt, shame, blame game, right? Guilt demands punishment. Shame says, I don't make a mistake. I am the mistake. And blame is it's all about fault, and it's never about responsibility. And as you can hear, all of that is a toxic stew that keeps everyone pretending something and living a lie, basically. So, for the light workers of the world, to be the light of the world is to be very honest and very humble and be willing to make mistakes and to learn from them. My guides say mistakes are great because that's how you learn, and make a lot of mistakes and enjoy your mistakes, uh, because no one is judging your efforts here. We come into this body to learn about our free will, and we do that through making choices. And some of them will be fearful choices, and some of them will be courageous, loving choices. And the fearful ones will be a postponement of who we really are and a resistance to who we really are. And the courage and the love and the forgiveness, and that's what I want to get to, will be the remembrance of who we are. So, how we awaken in the dream is we be more focused on remembering who we are and less focused on judging ourselves by our appearances. Now, I have this, I don't have that. I have this, I don't have that. Yeah. All right, here's Jonathan with an Einstein quote. It's not that I'm so smart, but I stay with the questions much longer. Good one. Yeah. Yeah, Einstein's a beautiful example of a great spirit. The one Rebecca and I think were quoting. I'll never forget in Bookshop Santa Cruz in California. In my early 20s, there at school, it was great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds, and you know, uh, to be a great spirit is, I think, really to commit to freedom and to commit to wanting to free myself and help others find their path to freedom. And my guides say the more you grow spiritually, the greater your freedom. So um, we keep ourselves in little boxes and little relationships and little identities and all of that for good and bad reasons. But when either through crisis or through revelation, yeah, epiphany, we start to realize that a bigger picture is possible, then of course, naturally, we want that. We want that greater freedom. We want that bigger picture of reality. So good to be here with you all. Yeah. I'm glad for your conversations, glad for your quotes. Yeah. Um, it's a great group. I love everyone I get to work with doing this wonderful work. I'm glad I got inspired to get on and use Be Live so we can do more Q&A. Yeah. Um, the I was mentioning last night. So there's Rihanna Eisler, is a wonderful writer and teacher, and she wrote a book called "The Chalice and the Blade," right? The cup and the sword, and she points out that historically humanity has long periods that are matriarchal, or yeah, in harmony and balance, the men and the women. And you see this in all the indigenous cultures of the world, yeah, in the more enlightened ones, to be sure, where there is a reverence for Mother Earth, a reverence for life, a reverence for the mothers, for the grandmothers, and that the men support the women and put the women first, and the women take care of the men, take care of the children, and take care of the home, and everything works together for good. It's a great system. But then we are touched by this madness of the masculine will of the conqueror, the warrior of fighting and yeah, all of that. And it is really a madness that takes over human consciousness for short periods of time only, because absolutely, because of you know it's unsustainable. It's a snake. It's the worm of Ouroboros. It's the snake eating its own tail. When men are not in harmony and balance with the women of their lives, in their lives, and when we're not treating each other with respect, and we're living in an addictive lifestyle, yeah, and an abusive lifestyle, how can that be sustained for very long? It has to fall apart. And that's what we're seeing on a global scale right now, is all that strutting around and pretending to be better than everyone, and thinking that we're right because we're because we're better. It's extraordinarily shallow and about as deep as a teaspoon, but it's extremely seductive, because it means you don't have to care about the earth, or women, or being responsible, or honesty, or integrity. I mean, I'm generalizing like mad here, but there's some truth in it. And meanwhile, on the other side of things, we still all need to learn how to live on this planet with people who are extremely lost and extremely confused and often quite desperate. And I've talked about how there's not a shadow of doubt in my mind that Putin, has been running all the right wing movements and created Brexit and created Trump. And this is the game that we're living under right now. And when we wake up to what's possible, we're not going to be just living with political solutions, though those are essential. We're going to be living from a sense of spiritual integrity and a sense of communion with each other, with all of our brothers and sisters throughout the world, and a sense of honoring the dignity in all of human life, and not needing to conquer or be better than, but wanting to help uplift and inspire. Okay, McKenna, we've been to the moon, we have charted the depths of the ocean and the heart of the atom, but we have a fear of looking inward to ourselves because we sense that is where all the contradictions flow together. Yes, you're quite right, Jonathan. I've listened to Terrence many times. I actually met him in a hallway at a conference once. That was a joy. He's another great spirit. So you're all very good to hang out with me. I appreciate your time and your consciousness, and I'm delighted that all of you are getting to know each other, and that we're all getting to know each other and be a part of this online community here. So I'm going to shift into channeling mode here in a minute, and see what I can offer in the way of inspiration and hope. Yeah, to send us on our way, to take us home. Yeah, let's see. We'll go with la 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 la. How about this? Very good. So thanks, thanks everyone for being here. I'm going to close out with a little channeling. Go ahead and close your eyes, take a deep breath, and I'll do the same. See if I can get the volume right. Okay. I'm going to turn the light off. Better. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and close your eyes, take a deep breath. God bless you, dear friends. Here we come. Dear friends, imagine 7 stars spiral down through time and space. Touch the crown of your head, take a deep breath. Relax and release. Crown, third eye, throat, and heart chakra. Take another breath. Relax and release. Will center, sacral, root, hips, legs, feet. Take another breath. Let everything flow down into Mother Earth. Let go, let go, let go. Dear friends, there's a great awakening that's happening in your heart and in your world, one and the same, in these moments, out of time and beyond space. Dear friends, you stand with the ancient ones, you stand with the elders, you stand with the masters, and those who understand, as you do, the infinite possibility of change. Take a deep breath. The heart knows what the mind struggles to believe, dear friends. And this is the wisdom that's passed down from generation to generation. That the mind is in service to the heart, that the heart is in service to the soul, that the soul is the guardian of the life that each of you are living in this powerful and magical time, dear friends. What you hold in your heart as your deepest truth illuminates your path, magnetizes your opportunities, creates a vibration of oneness, of openness, of trust, of adventure, of willingness that draws to you like-minded souls from this world and from every world. Take a deep breath. Dear friends, the great ones who stand with you in times such as this, ask for your commitment, your clarity, and your courage, that you be willing to allow yourself to see and sense and know that a new world is being born, even in the midst of this world, that a new time is dawning, even in this moment of history, that a new vibration is being birthed in your heart and in your life. And dear ones, whether everyone in your world understands what's happening or not, it is still happening. And so it is for you to take the next step. It is for you to speak the word of truth. It is for you to creatively express your soul and spirit through your thoughts, words, and actions. And it is for you to know, dear ones, that you are safe, loved, and supported, and that all is well for you and those that you love. Take a deep breath. So, dear friends, bringing an image of Mother Earth into your heart and putting a hand to your heart, blessing yourself as a guardian of the earth, blessing the elementals, blessing the races, blessing the changes that are upon this planet now and moving forward. Give thanks for what you do understand. Give thanks for what you have grown through and learned from. Give thanks that you are making peace with the power inside your soul and spirit. And dear ones, finally give thanks to know that you are never alone, that you can ask for and receive guidance, peace, love, support, inspiration, and all good things. Dear friends, in service to the oneness of all life, we bless you, we love you, we invite you to bless and love yourself, your world, your destiny. Take a deep breath. We let it be, and so it is. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings. Namaste. All my love. God bless you. Peace.